Tem alguns estudiosos aqui do Brasil, né, que fazem pesquisa do Jesus Romano, faz a propagação, né? Qual seria a mensagem que você tem para eles? Ou até mais algum estudo mais aprofundado sobre a pesquisa?
Joe, os seus pupilos aqui do Brasil, inclusive você já também conversou com eles via live, eles divergem um pouco da sua pesquisa. Você afirma que os romanos criaram Jesus para os judeus. E eles afirmam que os romanos criaram Jesus para os próprios romanos, como uma forma de legitimar a dinastia Flaviana, dado que eles tinham acabado de destruir o templo, e os evangelhos seriam uma espécie de forma de os próprios judeus estarem profetizando a sua própria queda. Como você avalia essa proposição?
Yeah, I mean, this is correct. There was two reasons for the Gospels. One was for the Judean rebels. The Rome definitely wanted to give an alternative religion that was messianic, but was pacifistic. So that was the political reason. The reason that they created the typology, the things I show in Caesar's Messiah, is because of vanity. They were also creating the religion, or they were creating the Gospels as a kind of monument to their genius. If you drive around Rome today, you'll see dozens of structures which are monuments to the genius and divinity of Caesar. I mean, in our case, the Arch of Titus is the most easy to understand, but there are dozens of these kinds of structures. So the Gospels are ultimately simply a vanity literature. The Son of Man that Jesus is predicting is actually the Roman Caesar. And what the Caesar is saying is, with the Gospels, is that, look, the Jews had all of these prophecies, they fought all of this rebellion, but the fact is, we won the war, and the prophecies actually foresaw us as the God of the Jews. So this is a very hard thing to understand. I understand why it's so confusing, because the vanity of the Caesars is not something that is associated with Christianity in any way. But the analysis I do in Caesar's Messiah, you can see that the Gospels had two purposes. One was religious, but the other was simply vanity. And so it's a sad comment on Christianity, that for so long this religion, which people think was about a religious leader and has religious principles, in fact was just a way for a vain group of people to commemorate their genius and their ability to fool people.
So what you're saying is that you partially agree with them?
Yeah. Verb that's on the cover of the book. So it's New Testament scholarship is a strange world. It's everyone has their own theory about Jesus. There's literally hundreds and hundreds of theories about him. Every PhD thesis has basically almost a unique idea about some part of Jesus's ministry. So none of these ideas are falsifiable. How can you actually prove that, one PhD theory about the idea of where Jesus grew up is false? I mean, there isn't enough data to be able to do it. So it's a world from the perspective of a historian that is non-falsifiable, and anyone can have any theory they want. I would just argue that my evidence is a different quality, because I actually take the existing text and show that using the existing text without any change of them, you can produce evidence that is completely clear, showing that that the story of Jesus was created by the Flavians. So I would just argue that I produce a different quality of evidence, and I don't really care what the academics say or, want to criticize. I can appeal directly to the reader of the book and say, look, you don't need any other authority to tell you. You can read for yourself and see where the story of Jesus comes from. It comes from the story. I have a quality of evidence that's different than has ever been produced in New Testament scholarship. You don't need, the reader of my book doesn't need the authority of any New Testament scholar. The reader can simply make his or her mind up based on what I show, the relationship I show as to who produced the Gospels. I am not asking, for any sort of complicated theory about the political world in the first century. I have the text. I produce the text side by side, and the relationship is clear and self-evident. And so it is evidence that is strong enough, I think, that the reader doesn't need anything other than just my text to know who created the Gospels.
Joe, o Shaolin, ele quis dizer, eu acho que para você deixar uma mensagem de apoio, alguma mensagem para os seus discípulos e para os seus pupilos aqui do Brasil, que também propagam a teoria flaviana, às vezes com as suas próprias versões, mas sempre com base naquilo que leram de você.
Well, I thank you for the support. I think it's important that the theory is publicized, not to benefit me, but because I believe that it's important for the public to realize how the oligarchs use false histories to control us. I think this is so important today, where governments are beginning to use artificial intelligence to create false histories. The public, the people we have to keep democracy in existence, we have to become more powerful too. We have to have more a capacity to criticize the stories that the governments are telling us. And so I think that the information in Caesar's Messiah is very useful to create more skepticism. And I really hope the theory becomes well known in Brazil, because I just think that Brazil is a very special country. I won't go into my long understanding of it, but I would just say that it's really the country that has the best chance, in my opinion, of being a defense against the control of the oligarchs through propaganda. Brazil is physically located away from Europe, away from the United States, the center of the propaganda, and the people have always been rebellious. They've always had this rebellious, skeptical spirit. I was in Brazil for quite a while in the 70s, and I came away thinking that the character of these people is a great hope for all mankind. So that's just my opinion, but I am hopeful that that there will be good resistance against propaganda, and I'm hoping that it will be the attack against propaganda will be led by the Brazilians. I think your country could be very special in the keeping freedom alive for all mankind in the future. Another episode, particularly if we can get a few Brazilian New Testament scholars to read the Flavian signature, which would only take them an hour. I'm not asking that much of them. If they would just read it, take 1 hour and read it, and then come on publicly, have a discussion with me in front of the people who watch your show in Brazil, and we can see the strength of the thesis. I mean, and particularly if it's someone who is very critical of it, it would be great. It would be wonderful to have a person like that come on. I mean, I just think the evidence is clear and simple, and that a New Testament scholar will easily, once he's read it, recognize it's correct. I mean, I could be wrong, but that's what I believe, and I would love to hear their response and to have like what New Testament scholarship in Brazil is critical of the theory. That's what I would love to have in another show. But I also would, perfectly happy to just do as many shows as you want. This is a good time for me in the morning. It's my morning here. So I will always be available to you whenever there's questions and criticisms. You can always schedule me.
Simplesmente amei a disposição dele para debater a teoria flaviana com acadêmicos. A gente aqui tem uma série de nomes, não sei qual é a disposição dos acadêmicos aqui de debater isso com o Joseph, mas a gente pode tentar fazer o convite. Seria, assim, surreal de sensacional. Agradeço o Joseph pela live e por essa disposição.
Right. They never wanted debate. But you know what we can do is if no one wants to debate, that's fine. I don't want to be a problem for them. But what we can do is we can just take the Flavian signature, the chapter, and we can just go over it one step at a time. We can do one step at a time, go through the entire adult ministry of Jesus, have it visible so that the person who's looking at the show can look for themselves and see here this is Atwill says these are related. Okay, maybe Atwill is crazy. What do you think as of someone who's reading it right now? You see, I think it's great to just present the evidence and just let the public see. And that would be an interesting show to actually go through step by step by step by step and show people how the Gospels were created.